In today's episode of Don't Mess Up, Zach, is those Lamborghini LP640 taillights. These run anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000. Can't stress this enough. If I mess up, I go bankrupt. So these are in for a restoration. You can kind of tell on the bottom there where the reverse and turn signal is, that the chrome is actually wearing away. It's getting water intrusion, so I'm gonna have to find where that's at, repair that, and then add some chrome back so that you can't see that red. The housing of these is actually red, which is pretty unique. I've never really seen that before. The whole back housing here is red. If you strip this black off, which I'm not gonna do, it's red. One other issue that this customer is having is that the turn signal is not working. That's because of the amount of rust. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the back and show you what's going on. That is pretty nasty. All that rust in there is causing some major issues with the turn signal, and it will definitely cause issues eventually for the reverse light as well. Thankfully, it's pretty simple. It's just two metal rails going into some twist-on turn signal bulbs. So we should be able to remove and clean everything and retest and make sure that everything is working as it should. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and put all of these screws back into where they go, just so that I don't lose anything. Go. Now we won't lose any of those. Set that to the side. Let's go ahead and remove these rails. There we go. Going to carefully disconnect these wires. Those separated. Oh yeah, this had quite a bit of water intrusion. I've got it over here and I'm going to put it into this bucket. But there is a problem. It doesn't sit all the way flat and I want it to soak in the chemicals. It does come apart, so it won't be too bad. So the top piece here obviously doesn't sit all the way down, but it wasn't as rusty as the bottom piece is. So I think it's gonna be okay. I'll just make sure that any rust that it has on there does get some chemicals on it. And now we wait. The rust cleaned up really, really good. So now we can assemble it back into here. I'm dumb. I forgot to put the bulb holders in place, and I have to take all that out and redo it. And we waited a really long time. It's actually been probably a week since then. I went ahead and removed all the rust and then tried to get the twist sockets to clean up. They were rusty all the way down inside of the socket itself. That didn't work. Bought new ones. Had to get new screws because they were so rusty that there was barely any metal left. So we got new screws for it and got it all assembled. Here it is now. I did use some glue just to help hold it together. It's kind of hard to actually twist these on because they're just loose rails whenever they're not screwed in. And you obviously can't twist the sockets on from the back. So just dabs of glue and some zip ties help hold together while I put the sockets back on. But now it's time for the scary part. I have to cut open the light so we can clean up the inside. So I am gonna do a how-to video on these. I don't know who this is gonna help or who this is for, but just in case, we don't want people cracking $2,500 taillights. Okay, we got the light open. Tried to use the ultrasonic cutter, and I've run into this on one other light where the ultrasonic cutter starts cutting a little bit, doesn't really do much, kind of shuts itself off if it sees something wrong. I specifically see that on 350Z lights right there. So ended up just using the Dremel. Was able to pop it open probably about 20 to 30 minutes. So it really wasn't too bad. Now we can really see how much chrome is missing down here. It's pretty much all red now. The housing itself is actually red. You can see where we cut through the back housing a little bit. That's red plastic right there. I am gonna use some spray on chrome. I know what you're thinking. Zach, spray on chrome doesn't look as good as the regular chrome on the housing. You're gonna ruin it. Well, yes, it doesn't look as good, I agree. But the other option is for the customer to either buy a new taillight, which we already know how much those cost, or he can try to buy a used taillight, which that's about $2,500. So this is the next best option. I'm gonna get the paint booth set up. This is my makeshift paint booth. It's too windy to paint outside, so painting in the garage kind of gets overspray on everything, and that just helps prevent overspray. Time to mask this off. It's ugly, but it works. And chrome. Got that all sprayed on. So now we gotta let it cure up overnight and we can start to reassemble. Okay, I've epoxied the two pieces back together and I just did a water leak test. So far, I don't see any signs of water actually leaking through, but just in case, I'm gonna go ahead and put clear silicone all down the inside of it, just to be extra sure. Last thing I want is for this customer to have to send them back. All right, so what I did was mask off the exact area that I needed, put a bead of silicone in there, and then really push it into the crack. Now I can peel the tape and let that cure, and it should have a watertight seal. Okay, now we have the lens all set in place. The adhesive has cured. It's time to use the silicone and seal it up. Okay, we got the first layer of silicone on. Now we need to do another layer, but I gotta wait for it to dry a little bit. So we'll probably wait an hour or two for the silicone to dry, and then we can add a second layer. While that's drying up, we're gonna go ahead and put the LED bulbs in. So I put the white ones in, now I'm gonna put the amber ones in, and then we're gonna retest and make sure that all of this is working since it was completely full of rust. Reverse light, and amber for turn signal. In classic Zach fashion, I forgot to film the ending of this video, so I'm gonna have to just do it here as I'm editing. Thankfully, there wasn't much left anyway, so this is just gonna be a quick clip of the light together. I'm showing you the parts that we painted, and after that, I have a couple of pictures of the lights assembled with the LEDs on. Then I boxed them up and shipped them out to the customer. That's really all that was left. But pretty cool that we got to fix that light, save the customer a couple $1,000s from having to buy a brand new one. And it turned out great.